Hi there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here today basically to do an episode of This Week, which is a show I do every week. I consider this to be the first show of the week, even though we often do a episode from the series we're running for the month first thing in the morning. That's kind of the last episode of last week. So this will be the first episode of this week. And basically what this episode is about is we talk about what the content for the channel is going to be for the week that we're currently in, about the individual regular shows and the series. And I may talk about a bit about the upcoming series for the month of May. And some discussions on some series that we will be running also once the completion of a couple of regular series happen, which will for the most part, will be happening today. So anyways, so without further ado, we're going to go on to the first episode that wasn't this week's episode. So the first one that usually comes out after this week, which will give you a list of everything we're going to be doing, is normally Commonalities Compared. That episode coming out usually Sundays at 8 o'clock. That's my go-to. So I'm just reorganizing my stack here. So the first one that we're going to do, this will also be the last episode of Commonalities Compared. I was only supposed to do 50, but I wasn't sure I was on 50 until after I had done it. So we decided to do one extra one, and that one is going to be episode 51, which will feature this album, Live at Budokan, and Thin Lizzy's live album, which is, I believe, Dangerous. Sorry, I always forget my glasses when I'm starting. Cheap Trick's Live at Budokan, and then Thin Lizzy's Live and Dangerous, which I don't own. I did try to find it this week so that I would have it for the video, but the place I usually shop did not have it. They had a lot of stuff though, but not that particular album. So we're going to be discussing this album. Commonalities Compared. We're going to be discussing Cheap Trick's Live at Budokan, and then Thin Lizzy's Live and Dangerous, which we will do tonight. Okay, so that comes out at 8 o'clock tonight, so you'll see that. The next episode up is Monday night's look back at a classic rock album. And this week we're going to be featuring an album that's currently in my playlist, has been in there for 5 months. That's generally the time period in which I decide whether the album is going to be an album that I do as a classic look back at a rock album, or maybe it isn't quite good enough. This one, I think, makes it easy. It's a high 2, maybe even a low 1, which is Greenslade's debut album, which is the top one here. See if I can get up close enough so you can see it. Yeah, the top one. The second one will be the next album we're doing. But that's the top one will be the one we're doing for Look Back at a Classic Rock Album this week, which will come out Monday at 8 o'clock. The next show on the schedule, sorry, not off the schedule, but on the schedule, will come out Tuesday night, which is a mini-series that we started last week. So there's a little bit of confusion with this series because I misunderstood what he wanted to do. So what we've decided to do so that I can continue with the vein we are running here, because I already did the first episode, is I'm going to do 2 mini-series. So the first one will be only a 4 episode mini-series, which will be called Decades, which we already have had the first one. Actually, I believe this will be the third one. So we've done 2, which are, the first one was, if I'm correct, was Styx, and the second one was Black Sabbath. The third one is going to be Led Zeppelin, and it'll go from this album to this album, and all points in between. We'll be going over the formation I guess it's a kind of a formation of Zeppelin right through to the end of their final album. I don't count Coda. I know some people do, but I don't. So that will be the mini-series for this week. For decades, this will be the third episode. We have one more after that. So that is that is Tuesday at 8 o'clock. For Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we'll be back to doing another 5. So for most of you know that this is the night we do favorites. The last couple of weeks I've been doing 25s. This week we're going back to a 5. This will be another 5 iconic rock albums I love. So I've done one episode of this already. Everybody kind of knew we'd be doing at least a second episode, and I will probably do a third one as well. So, but for this week, it'll be another 5 iconic albums that I love. That will be on Favorites, 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. On Thursday night, ranking the songs off an album. This is a show that I do every bi-weekly. I alternate that with Not What We Hope For. So we did an episode of Not What We Hope For last week. This week we're going to be doing an episode of ranking the songs off the album. The album I've chosen is Dark Matter by IQ. I don't know why I can't give this album enough love. I just can't. Every time I'm looking at doing some show or something, I'm always trying to figure out how I could fit this one in. So anyways, Dark Matter's IQ will be the album for ranking the songs off the album. There are only 5 tracks on this album, and I'll be talking about that when I do that show on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Friday, we're back to another live stream. Now, I did postpone it last week because I was supposed to go out of town. Things did not go the way the plan. So, but I did not do the show. So in this case, Into the Prog Verse this week will feature my Hawkwind collection. Now, I added some new ones to the collection recently, and plus some new ones that I've added for this week's or for the end of the month new albums purchase. This is going to be a massive new albums purchase for me. I think it'll be the most stuff I've purchased in more than 2 years, I'm sure. I've got over 22 already, plus there's some heading in the mail here. Yeah, so, and quite a bit of Hawkwind in there as well. So we'll be doing Hawkwind for my collection episode this week on live stream Into the Progverse on Friday night at 8 o'clock. Next up is Battle of the Bands, or Battle of the Masterpiece Albums, which is a show I've been doing every week for the past 6 weeks. We've done 6 battles. This will be battle number 7. And once again, we have some very strong albums in here. Every one of these is a masterpiece, so it's there. Any one of the 4 could end up in the top spot on a given day. So for this week, it'll be Equinox by Styx. Absolutely destroying album. Probably my favorite Van Halen album, fair warning. The recent addition to the Masterpiece collection, Led Zeppelin 3, which is currently my favorite Led Zeppelin album. Getting a lot of shine here today. And the last one, not going to be a surprise to anybody. This album is in the Masterpiece, Pink Floyd, because the album's blue, I'm thinking Deep Purple. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. So this is going to be a massive battle for me. I love all 4 of these albums a lot. Pretty much absolute masterpieces. I'm curious to see if the one that I think is going to win will actually win. It's going to be tough, though, because there's a couple here that are kind of recent additions to this, and they're strong additions, too. So I'm not sure. Any one of those 4 could win. So anyways, I digress. So we'll be doing that for Battle of the Masterpiece albums on Saturday, probably around noon, I believe. That's what I normally do it at. At least I think that's what I normally do it at. Yes, it is. And then the last episode for the regular shows for the week will be What's New, which will be, drawing a blank here for a second. So What's New, which is an episode we do Saturday night, and that will feature the band Ghost and their album Scalita. This is a hard rock band. It's a band that people have tried to push onto me before, and some people who I like their style of music like this band as well. So I figure, you know what, I'm going to give them a shot, and we're going to do this album. They have a new album coming out, or they've had a new album coming out. I think this one comes out on the 25th, so hopefully I'll be able to access it and give you a kind of feel for the album. So Ghost and Scalita will be for Saturday night's What's New at 8 o'clock. Okay, so then the other thing, of course, is the series that we're running for the month of April. I have 7 more episodes to do this week. This is my favorite rock bands with a progressive or prog element to their music, or prog kind of, how do you say it? Influence. That's the word I was looking for. Prog influence on their music. So we'll be doing that, 7 of them today, and then we'll only have 3 episodes, actually 4 episodes for next week, starting on Sunday. And then we'll also give you I'm going to do a honorable mentions for this month as well, because there was a lot of stuff that could have put in there, but you can only put so many. And so I wanted to give everybody at least some attention. And then next month, we're going to be doing a series of episodes for the month of May, entitled My 20, or actually, I guess it would be 31 favorite new wave bands. So this would have been bands that came out during that new wave period in rock history that I think for me started in late 78, 79 and went through to probably into the early 80s, like 83, 84. It might even have gone as far as 85. But that period of history where there was a lot of these new wave bands. And I'm going to include all 31 of my favorites. Some of them are well known on this channel because I talk about them quite a bit. Others maybe not so much. But anyways, that's the series we're going to run for the month of May. And usually I do this at the beginning, talk about any kind of mistakes that may have happened. There wasn't really any mistakes this week other than I didn't get to go where I wanted to. That was the one mistake that was partially my own fault. But anyways, a few of these came out a bit late. Most of it's because we're very busy at work right now. I'm getting home a little bit later and usually tired and hungry. So I take care of those 2 things first, and then I try to do the video on time if I'm able to. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of this week, this is episode number 141 already, which will go from April the 20th today till next Saturday, April the 26th. Yep, the month is going down, and I hope to see you throughout the week on either the regular shows or maybe possibly on the series, or maybe both. So have yourself a good day, a good evening, and goodbye.